Yeah, I'm going to go pretty close to the top and just say Giannis Antetokounmpo. You always try to really look for the slates and the games and the matchups where Antetokounmpo can reach his ceiling, which is massive. And I think tonight could be one of those nights. They're 7.5-point favorites against the Raptors. This game's in Milwaukee. I guess there is some risk of blowout potential, but the Raptors are healthy. They've been playing some of their best basketball of the season, and while every star player for the Bucks is healthy, they lost Grayson Allen and Pat Connaughton to health protocols yesterday. They're already down Dante DiVincenzo. There's just a little bit of depth concern right now with Milwaukee, and that could really kind of result in two things. One, they might not be as good as they could possibly be in this contest, and that would keep this game closer. And two, that might actually force Giannis to play a couple extra minutes in a situation where he normally wouldn't. And 7 times this season, he's played 36 minutes, which isn't even that crazy a minutes total. He's averaged 65.7 DraftKings points per game because he averages 1.7 DraftKings points per minute so far this season. So again, this is just a situation where if you ever think Giannis is going to play more than 35 minutes, you almost have to play him regardless of price.
All right, Whalen, do you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. Giannis is one of the guys I have on my list. Garion read off a lot of the stats that I was going to lay out there. I mean, at this point, he's essentially matchup proof, but I do think going up against what's been an undersized Raptors front court, the way that they've handled this since everybody's come back with Pascal Siakam at center, there's not really anybody in the league who's a great matchup for Giannis, but the way that the Raptors line up, I think, is especially advantageous. So I think Giannis is in a great spot tonight, reasonable price tag at 11.6. I do like Joel Embiid if you want to go just a tiny bit cheaper. He's at 11,200. Really good matchup against the Orlando Magic. He has 270 DraftKings points games in his last 6. He's been over 60 DraftKings points 2 more times in that span, so he's been on fire. Obviously, you could pay up and go Nikola Jokic, who's probably the most matchup-proof player in all of fantasy right now. And if you want to save a little money, I think at 6,800, you could go down to Jusuf Nurkic. He's coming off of 21 points, 12 rebounds, 5 assists in his last game. The minutes were starting to come up a little bit amid some injuries. I think Portland was just kind of trying to shake things up and spark something. They were finally playing him 31, 32, 33 minutes. So hopefully that's the case. If he stays out of foul trouble, at least that's been the case recently. But if you want to throw a little bit of a dart and go with upside and save money at center, I do like Nurkic.
Friar, what's your strategy here? Who are you going to build around at center?
Look, just to build off what everybody's saying about Giannis, I do agree if you're going to pay up at the center position tonight, that is the guy to go with. On top of all the stats that Nick and Garion have thrown out there, the last 5 times that Giannis and Pascal Siakam have gone head-to-head, Giannis has come 1 or 2 assists shy of a triple-double. I know he just got one on New Year's Day. This is the night. If you're going to go and get exposure to somebody on DraftKings Sportsbook for getting triple-double, Giannis would be the guy to back tonight because he's been knocking on that door every time he's been seeing Pascal Siakam. But if you want to save a little bit, I think Draymond Green tonight at 7.2K versus Dallas, normally not a guy that I want to go with, but I got to respect what he's done lately. He has back-to-back 44-point DK fantasy point performances. And there were 8 days between those 2 games because he was stuck on the sideline for a little while. And between those 2 games, he has 13 points combined. He's putting up 44 DK fantasy points in back-to-back games, and he's not scoring much at all. Of course, it's not necessarily his thing, but either way, this is a guy who's going to go and give you quite a bit of value. When you look at what he did against Miami, too, that was his last game. That's a team that doesn't give up a lot of fantasy points to bigs, whereas Dallas has given up the 6th most DK fantasy points to both power forwards and centers this season.